Maybe the question we should ask is not, why is church history important? The question we should actually ask is, why would we ever think it wasn't important? The modern attitude that we have, that history is not important, is just that. It's a modern attitude. It's exceptional in the history of humanity.
Martin Luther was born November the 10th in the year of 1483, where it also been located in the region of Prussian Saxony, and died at the age of 63 in 1546, February 18th, and the 2nd of July, 1505, he was overtaken by a thunderstorm. For help he yelled, "And I become a monk." He kept his vow. Then in the summer of that year, he entered the Augustinian convent with tears and penitence for all of his wrong ways. Didn't find peace in his pious exercises, terrified of a holy God that was righteous, but received wise counsel from an old monk by the name of Johann von Staupitz. Reminds him of the forgiveness of sins, an article found in the Apostles' Creed, that was saved by grace apart from deeds. Then in 1507, encouraged him to enter the priesthood, so he brought him to Wittenberg to take the degree, Doctor of Divinity, to preach. Then after he studied all day in Scripture, immersed himself in St. Paul's epistles, Luther is drawn by conviction of the abuse of indulgences that he witnessed. Noticed the great corruption of Rome. Leo X, a presumptuous pope, is bankrupt but wants to continue constructing a dome with St. Peter to pay off his debts, incur rewards, and finish his project by decorating his walls. So he strikes a deal with Albrecht, who was the third bishop of Kent, cause against church law. So he takes a loan from the Fuggers in Augsburg, so he can pay the Pope for exemption. Then the Pope would grant our bishop Albrecht permission to sell indulgences to pay off the interest.
And the Pope allows Albrecht to raise an indulgence on his territory so that he can give some of the money to the Fuggers to pay off capital on the loan, and some of the money goes to the Pope. The Pope wins both ways. It's great being Pope at the start of the 16th century. You set the rules and you win both ways. The Pope's problem is solved. He gets the money to pay off the debts incurred by his war and by hiring Michelangelo to decorate St. Peter's. And Albrecht's problem is solved. He gets the third bishopric and all of the lucrative tax deals that will involve.
And yo, as we consider St. Peter's dome, it's once the glorious shame of papal Rome, bit over the bones of the Galilean fishermen with the proceeds from the sales of indulgences. And indulgences so unique to the Roman Church and known to the Greek and Latin fathers if you were to search. Wait a minute, what are indulgences exactly? That's a good question, I am glad that you asked me. It's remission of punishment of sin in Latin, on the condition of penitence and payment of money to the bishop, archbishop, or pope. That's ridiculous, you gotta be kidding, is it a joke? No, just go read church history, bro. They commissioned the preacher Tetzel. He sold indulgences throughout Germany, known for a famous statement. Let me read, and I quote, "When a coin in a coffer rings," he said, "it's sold from Purgatory Springs." So on October 31st, 1517, Luther posted his 95 Theses.
And Luther, in 1517, he will nail up this poster that lists a series of his objections to what's going on. It's called the 95 Theses. He did it on October the 31st, and it's often regarded as the day that the Reformation began. Except Luther didn't regard it that way. Luther, years later, says, when I did that thing about indulgences, he said, I was the most insane follower of the Pope. Luther gets concerned because his parishioners are going over, and not that they're being sold.